So there have been many speculations about what a plant-based diet actually is. So in this video, I'll go over the main aspect of plant-based eating, how it benefits you, and 3 steps so that you can gradually shift over to a more plant-based eating pattern. Okay, so before we begin anything, I'm gonna bust a really big myth right here. So a lot of individuals think that if you're going on a plant-based diet, that means you're going on a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet. And that is simply not true. So a vegetarian diet excludes all meat and sometimes can include seafood or chicken, eggs, and dairy as well. And veganism, being vegan means that you exclude all animal products. No eggs, no fish, no meat, no dairy, and sometimes even no honey. But on the other hand, with plant-based eating, it does not mean that you're excluding an entire group of foods. It simply just means that you're prioritizing foods that come from plant sources more so than the animal sources. And what I mean by plant sources are things like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, oils, and legumes. Prioritize that to get your sustenance over something like beef or chicken or seafood. So this really brings us to step 1 of going plant-based, which is using the plate method at meals. Now, what the plate method is just that during your meals, so having half of your plate filled with different vegetables of different colors, and that just really ensures that you're getting a lot of fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and this is really just going to help you focus on getting your sustenance more from vegetables and plant-based foods versus animal-based foods. Step 2 of plant-based eating is to include more plant-based proteins. So if you're not yet comfortable with reducing your current amount of animal-based protein, that's okay. But what can be beneficial is to start adding in some of those plant-based proteins. And okay, so what do I mean by plant-based proteins? For example, adding black beans to your chili, in addition to maybe ground beef, adding navy beans, which are white beans, to your soups, in addition to, again, something like sausages or ground beef or strips of chicken, in addition to your salads, besides, again, any sort of like feta cheeses or cubes of chicken. You can also add things like chickpeas as a source of plant-based protein. In terms of stir fries, you can add sources of plant-based proteins by adding tofu, like extra firm tofu, that is cut into cubes and added to the stir fry. Or if you're more of a soup person, then what you can think about is adding in some silken tofu, such as in like an egg drop soup type of style. You can also sprinkle in some things like edamame, which are young soybeans. They're usually in pods, sold usually typically frozen, and they're green in color. And you can add those, sprinkle them to your salads, sprinkle them in your soups, or in stir fries as well for a nice crunchy plant-based protein boost. If you're adding these ingredients to whatever it is that you're already eating, whether it's something that might be already plant-based, or you are someone who's more focused on animal products, this just really helps you to kind of gradually go into and get familiar with plant-based proteins and how awesome of ingredients they can be in a variety of dishes. So the 3rd step to plant-based eating is to make meat the side dish. A lot of you might be using meat as the main focus, but when it comes to plant-based eating, and once you become more knowledgeable about what plant-based proteins are and how they taste and how you can cook them, then you can really gradually start to make the whole grains, make the plant-based proteins, and make vegetables the main focus of your meals, and then make meat in a smaller portion and think of that as the side dish. For example, instead of having like a large piece of steak on your plate and then having like a side salad with that, instead making the salad the main focus, including more of a variety of vegetables as the base, and then you're adding strips of that steak in a smaller portion on top. Or you can try something like a simple stir fry, where meat is there but in smaller amounts, and the main priority is the different types of veggies that are in there. And here's actually a bonus tip. To go more so into plant-based eating, you can also think about having a meatless day or meatless days. Okay, wait. I know that in the beginning I said that plant-based eating is not about excluding meat products or, animal products, but hear me out. Having an entire meatless day once in a while can be a really great fit to plant-based eating. And the frequency that you do this at is gonna be completely up to you. It depends on how comfortable you are with plant-based eating and with incorporating the different variety of plant-based proteins, and just it depends on what you prefer. So these steps are really to help you gradually shift into that plant-based eating pattern. And if you're still unsure whether or not this is actually something you want to go through with, you ought to know that plant-based eating can have a lot of benefits. So because a plant-based eating pattern can have a higher chance of containing nutrients like fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients, as well as heart-healthy fats, then a plant-based diet could help you combat things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, reduce your risk of diabetes, help you maintain a healthy weight, as well as being budgetary friendly and more sustainable to the environment. Stay tuned for a more visual representation of what an entire day of plant-based eating could look like. And if you like this content, please hit that like button and subscribe for more educational content in the future. Until next time.